Well, good morning, friends, and welcome to my channel. My name is Crystal, and this is Homemaking on the Homestead. And today, I have a little bit of a different coffee with Crystal to do with you. I am going to introduce you to my daughter, Sierra, and we are going to chat about things in today's video. So, grab your cup of coffee, and let's chat. We are having such a great week together. My daughter flew in here on Tuesday. And is here for a visit, and it has been so much fun.
Yeah.
And we have been baking cookies. We decorated the tree this morning with the grandkids.
All the nieces and nephews.
Right, and so it's been so much fun together. I asked her if she'd be willing to sit down and do a video and just share a little bit about herself, and we're going to have a conversation on a couple of different topics that I think will be of interest to all of us. Yeah. And she was very willing to do it.
I have things to share.
Exactly. So Sierra has always been my, the last several years before she moved out of the house, she was my sidekick. And the two of us used to have all kinds of adventures.
Yeah.
IKEA, yes, that was one of them.
The IKEA adventure, chocolate cake and coffee.
Oh, that was our favorite. Absolutely our favorite. And, we both remember our 7, 8 o'clock at night, and we live out in the country, so it takes a while to get to town. But 7, 8 o'clock at night, sometimes we'd look at each other and we'd be like, ooh, sushi, should we do it? And we would hop in the car, go into town and get a bunch of sushi and come home.
Sushi, yeah, and pizza occasionally too, the combination.
That's right, yeah, and watch movies and things like that. So it was a whole lot of fun. So there's been a lot of memory lane since she's been here, and we've talked about all the things and all the Christmas memories as well too. So before we go much farther, I'm going to let Sierra tell a little bit about herself, where she lives, where she works, and what she does. So, all right.
Well, currently right now I'm in Northern California. I am a front end assistant manager at a local grocery store where I kind of oversee and take care, or babysit kind of 40 employees, cashiers and stuff like that, as me and 6 other assistant managers kind of run the front. And then I do the deposit portion, where the cash and whatnot for the store as well. And
that sounds like it's stressful. Dealing with 40 employees sounds a little stressful to me.
It is a little bit hectic, especially when we have a lot that we take care of, not only with the customer service and retail, the cashiers, customer complaints, obviously. A lot of making sure that we're making upper management happy. There's a lot of expectations and demands on making sure that we're giving quality work, quality service, quality products, quality, just everything, to be honest.
Makes a good experience for the shoppers when they come in, and the store is functioning well.
You give your 100% every time. So
yeah,
definitely. And of course, you have to work through when the entire system for the store goes down, and you have to figure out how to work through that. And so just little things. It's fun, but it definitely can be a lot to think about at one time. So.
Sure, yeah. And so when a cashier needs a break, you're the one that is responsible to make sure somebody else is covering while they're taking their break.
Yeah, you just have to make sure you don't send too many people out on break at one time. We want to keep as many registers open as possible. It can, we don't want more than maybe 2 people in the registers, lined up at the registers.
That's nice.
Yeah, so that's ideal, but obviously that doesn't always work out. But it can get pretty stressful when you do have upper management watching, and if they have more than 2 people, they're like, okay, what's going on? It's like, I'm sorry, I'm trying to do my best here.
So it can be a lot of stress. And that was one thing we were going to discuss in this video today, which we will get to, is ways to deal with stress. Because I think, no matter if you're working a job, this time of year, of course, with Christmas coming, can put a lot of other expectations on people and cause a lot of stress for people in their life.
Working retail during the holidays is definitely intense for any kind of retail store.
Exactly, and especially especially a grocery store. So, she had wanted to come home during Thanksgiving, but they wouldn't let anybody take breaks during Thanksgiving because that was
out.
Yeah, that was one of the most busy times.
Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Yeah, so she chose, this week
Kind of in the
in
middle.
December,
Yeah.
so that we could at least get to spend some time with her.
Yeah.
So, all right, we're going to get onto that and a couple other things. I do want to say, usually I film these Coffee with Crystal videos in the morning, and but our morning this morning took a different turn. My daughter, who lives here locally with her kids, came.
Yeah.
And we had a super fun morning decorating the Christmas tree and having cocoa and that type of thing. So we're actually later in the afternoon now. And typically I always have coffee, but right now, because it's getting later in the day, we are both drinking chai tea.
Cheers.
Yeah, we're both drinking my chai tea. If you saw my...
Which is delicious.
Yeah, well, thank you. It was a good review, right? Well, she remembered it, and she was excited when she got here and realized I had made it. And so I had a video recently, which I can link, over there, and that I show you how to make the chai tea mix, and it is delicious.
Yeah.
So, and one of the common questions I ask you guys on this video is, what are you having for dinner? And as I've always said, I like my goal is for the comment section to be a place where other ladies can come and get meal ideas and figure out, what am I serving for dinner today? Let me go look on the comments and see what everybody else is sharing. And you've done that, and you've done a great job. I love it. So, that's my first question for you ladies is, what's for dinner tonight? And so post that down in the comments. And right now, Sierra and I are planning to make some lasagna. Well, if it doesn't get too late in the day here, that's our goal, is lasagna tonight. And Sierra also has always loved to cook.
Yeah, I definitely do. It's a little hard for me right now with my current living condition with a bad kitchen, but...
Yeah, and also, the struggle of cooking for yourself is real,
Yeah. Not as much motivation, I feel like.
Yes, exactly.
I could eat whatever and it doesn't matter.
Exactly. You could have a sandwich and, so why go through the hassle of cooking? And so, but she does love to cook. We used to cook together all the time. So that was one of the things we wanted to do a little bit of when she was here. So tonight I found this recipe for lasagna, and typically I use cottage cheese and, or you could use ricotta, but I realized, or I've learned recently, that like real authentic Italian lasagna actually uses a bechamel sauce instead, which is basically a white sauce with a little bit of nutmeg and Parmesan in it, Parmesan cheese. So we're kind of excited to try something.
Try something different.
Yeah, it's new and different.
It might be our new favorite recipe.
It might be, yeah. So I will make sure I share that with you guys in a future video and let you know how it turned out and what we thought of it.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the really interesting things that Sierra does as, I guess, a hobby, something that is of interest to her, is she is learning Hebrew.
Yeah.
The language, the Hebrew language, and she's learning to write it, read it.
Write it. It's taken a little bit of time, but speak it, but...
Right.
Yeah.
So I find that absolutely fascinating. I mean, I think it's really exciting.
Yeah.
And so tell me what your motivation for wanting to learn Hebrew is.
It started out with the fact that when I read my Bible, I would use the Bible Hub app or website to read the Bible parallel with Hebrew, or at least the Old Testament. And I kind of wanted to learn the language so that I didn't have to just solely rely on this website telling me that this is how we translate the language. Like, I didn't want to take the word for it, per se. So I just wanted to learn the language so that I could read the Old Testament Bible in its original language and kind of do a deeper
word study
and translate it, myself with Holy Spirit's help, essentially.
Right. Not
that I think I would see anything different, but just more like I might understand maybe scripture in full spectrum.
I just think that that's fascinating.
Yeah.
And when you think about the language, like, Hebrew can have, and that's the same, the Old Testament was written in Hebrew, the New Testament was written in Greek and Arabic. Mm-hmm. And so...
Or Aramaic.
Aramaic, Yes, I think I made that mistake the other day.
Yeah, no, my brain is like, I don't know.
Yeah, and so we might have just one word for something, but in the Hebrew language, that word could have several different meanings,
Yeah.
which could make a particular Bible verse actually look or
Different.
or have a different inflection on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you really understand the actual Hebrew?
Yeah.
So I think that is probably one of the coolest things.
Yeah, it's
ever.
been fun. I've been learning it casually, so it hasn't been like super intensive. I've been doing it on my own, so I'm not like taking lessons at the moment. But I wanted to get to a point where I could roughly read and understand the sounds that each Hebrew letter made and be able to kind of form sentences on a very basic level. I've only been studying since July, I think. So I'm not like super good about it. But eventually I'm hoping to take lessons, like pay for them, and then
Like go to a class.
yeah, just to help me understand maybe grammar a little bit more. And I know biblical Hebrew is just a little bit different than modern Hebrew is.
Right.
So
right.
I just want to be able to kind of, go down that route. But for now, I'm just self-studying and just doing it on my weekend, maybe for an hour or two each day.
Yeah, I think that is, I don't know, I think that's cool.
Yeah.
You guys tell me what you think.
It's been fun. I've been really liking it a lot.
Yeah, well, it's to me, in my mind, it's a very worthwhile language to learn, and it's hard,
It's different. It's just very different in how like they construct their sentences versus how English is constructing our sentences. Like you have to think differently,
Right.
which has just been fascinating, honestly. So.
And the lack of, you brought this up the other day when we were talking, the lack of vowels.
Oh yeah, like the Hebrew language is mostly just consonants. So, and then they have a couple of silent letters, but the vowel sounds are kind of, I don't know how to say it, like you just have to know the vowel sounds that follow the consonants before you move on to the next consonant letter. So it's kind of, you just have to know the language, you just have to know the word in order to know how the word is supposed to sound. So it's going to be a lot of like memorization of every single word, really.
Yeah.
Before, yeah. I mean, obviously, when it's written down, obviously you have the Nikud, which is a bunch of like dots and dashes that kind of look like a braille system that will indicate and tell you what, the vowel sounds are supposed to be. But that's usually for children and beginners, and native speakers don't
use that at all.
Yeah, from my understanding, yeah.
Wow.
So very, to know.
Yeah, very, very, very interesting.
Yeah.
So. Okay, so what I wanted to move to right now is just a few tips about dealing with stress. And like I said earlier, everybody deals with stress at one time or the other. And of course, this time of year for a lot of us can be more stressful than other times, or stressful jobs.
Yep.
And so I thought it would be interesting if the two of us just kind of, we haven't really spent a lot of time discussing what it is, because I just wanted to, what our ideas are, as much as I just wanted us to be able to, say, okay, this is how I deal with stress.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I know is really important for me when I'm dealing with stress is sleep.
Yeah.
And like getting good quality sleep, getting enough sleep. If I don't have enough sleep, my stress levels just can end up going through the roof. And so that is really an important one for me, as well as basic things, making sure I get plenty of water to drink, making sure, the food that I do eat is healthy, and, nourish my body to so that I can perform at my at my best. So I mean, those are some just like off the top of my head stress things that I like to do during stressful periods. And you working in a grocery store, that can be very stressful this time of year. How do you deal with that? Like when you get off of work and you have been bombarded by people and expectations and demands all day long, what are some of the things that you do that help you?
Honestly, the gym. Like I immediately go to the gym after work right away to just kind of vent out. It helps quite a bit. It used to be really hard for me to get into the habit first. But I think just after a while, I've noticed that every time I go there, even if it's just for 15 minutes, I try not to put too much pressure on myself
Demand.
when it comes to demand for the gym. But I just noticed that every time I left the gym, I just felt very well. And
So
then,
exercise.
Yeah, exercise. Yeah.
You know, basically getting exercise.
And it's important that I do it immediately right after the work, because if I do it any later, I'm not going to do it.
So if you decide to go home and take a break for a bit and then go to the gym, it's not going to happen. Yeah.
I'm already on this like go that if I stop that, then I'm not going to go any further, you know.
You're done for the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that, and then obviously I like to do things that are soothing to my sensories, like whether it's lighting a candle, which is visually appealing for me, but obviously, or also the scent of a candle can be calming. Sometimes it's music, like jazz music, or just something that's very calm. I find that those type of things definitely work for me. I find it very interesting because when I was reading books about like helping kids through trauma, that was the one thing that they would always recommend would be, if you have a kid who's stressed, you know, they're under stress, maybe they're having an episode or having something, to do things to their sensories that soothe them and calm them. So carry suckers with them, and then if they're stressed out, you just kind of like give them one, or a sticker, or something that's like, you know, kinetic. Anyways, and when I was reading that, I was like, that's very true. I never really thought about like focusing on just like, if I can't eliminate the demands that I have every day, what can I do to soothe myself during that process?
Right.
And there's a lot of just sensory, like, I don't know,
sure.
soothing.
And that makes a lot of sense too. And I think, you know, that there's a good point in there with the things that you can't control.
Yeah.
And I know this time of year, or any time of year really, you know, if we're feeling stressed, oftentimes we really have to examine what's causing our stress.
Yeah.
And you know, can we eliminate things?
What can we let go of?
Right. Sometimes, you know, even if it's just for a season, a period of time, that you have to let go of something that may be important to you, but it's adding to your stress levels, then that is of great value to know that I can pick this up again, but, you know, let me just get this down to the bare minimum of how I can function and alleviate as much stress as possible in that way. So
I think also, and I know some people may disagree, but like Christmas, buying gifts for people, I know that can be a huge stressor, financial stress.
Yeah,
on a lot of people and everything like that.
And it's funny because I've been talking about that on my channel. So
yeah, one thing I tell people, like coworkers and stuff like that, when they talk to me about like, oh, I gotta buy this person that and this, I always tell them, I was like, you know what? I remember growing up at some point in my life where we would draw names.
Yes.
And that, you know, one person is the person that you buy gifts for, and it just alleviated so much. And I was like, okay, you don't have to worry about hurting someone else's feelings because maybe you forgot or you didn't get to them.
Right.
Or maybe you just felt more inspired to buy this person something because you know for a fact that they like that, but then you feel obligated to buy this person something.
Yeah. and
not to hurt feelings and stuff like that. And you know.
Well, and it's funny because I think it was maybe my last coffee with Crystal. I mentioned the drawing of names, but you guys also got to the point where you decided not to exchange gifts anymore.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that too had to do with the kids going through different, you know, situations, whether it was families, jobs, you know, schooling, whatever it was. It just got to be too much.
Yeah.
And so that decision had to be made too.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, it's important to give ourselves permission to do things differently.
Yeah.
And to not take on those outside obligations that, you know, you really have to ask yourself, how important is it? You know, if I didn't get my neighbor something, or if I didn't get, you know, some coworker something, is it really the end of the world, you know? And if it's causing you stress, sometimes it's better to just eliminate those
or just
things.
be honest with people. You know, like honestly, I think we forget to be honest. Like, I just don't feel like I can buy gifts for you or do this, you know, because it's putting a strain on me. I mean, however you want to word it, but
Exactly.
I just think sometimes communication, especially nowadays where things are just kind of tight as it is anyway, like economically speaking, food and expenses.
Yeah, it's gotten very expensive, and there's a lot of people, you know, that maybe live maybe they don't live paycheck to paycheck, maybe they do, and even if they don't, there may not be a whole lot of wiggle room, and then all of a sudden in December we're supposed to have, all this excess of funds available to be purchasing gifts for everybody. And and I've heard that we'll just start your planning in January, and then the problem I have with that is it puts so much emphasis on Christmas, and again
for the whole entire year.
For the whole entire year now, now it's not just December. Now you're having to do it all year long, So.
I mean, if that's just who you are naturally, then that's
then
pretty
go for
amazing.
it. Yeah, right, right. And if you enjoy it, of course, there's nothing wrong with that. The idea in what we're sharing is just ways to look at everything in your life and figure out how do we bring those stress levels down.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like, at least for me, memories. That's like important for me.
Yes.
Like, let's do something instead of focusing on gifts and stuff like that. Like, I know, like, when I have kids, it's gonna be probably way more events, or not events, but projects or just things that we do. It's gonna be more focused on that than it is gonna be about gifts per se.
And and I've also brought this up. It's like when you look back. I mean,
it's
how many?
Gifts I remember.
Right. How many of the gifts that you got do you actually?
I do remember the giant dollhouse though. That was my favorite. But otherwise, I really don't. I remember, that dollhouse and the cereal too.
Oh, the cereal. So that was a fun thing, as my kids were growing up, I always fed them super healthy. So it was usually oatmeal and homemade granola and homemade
big boxes of granola.
Yeah, right. From Azure. If I didn't make it, I would buy big boxes of granola from Azure. And, so they never rarely did they ever get cereal. And if they did, it was going to be something as healthy as I could possibly get, like Raisin Bran, And so on Christmas, though, we would go in and buy like a box of cereal, like 7 or 8, the number of kids of the junk cereal.
The worst of the worst.
The worst of the worst, the Fruit Loops and the
Fruit Loops, yeah.
Yeah, right, the Lucky Charms and things like that. And I would wrap those and put those under the tree. So, Christmas morning, I didn't put names on it, but everybody could open a box and see, and then everybody shared it. And that ended up being the greatest tradition because, everything leading up to Christmas was always so stressful. And then to think about a big Christmas morning breakfast production and all that.
Yeah.
So that was the funnest thing for them is to open the cereal boxes. And that was breakfast for Christmas morning, which was a huge treat because it was something they didn't get any other time of the year. So
it was a core memory.
Yeah, right. But and it's like a tradition, because I think so many of the things we do at the holidays too are a tradition that we remember more than we remember the gifts. So I think keep those things in mind, even with your friends and neighbors, and to know that you can say no, it's okay, and you can do a plate of cookies or something, or
something that I like for me to relieve stress. I like to be crafty and artsy. I'm not super skillful at a lot of stuff, but you can kind of turn that into something for Christmas Eve where, if you have kids or something too, maybe make some Christmas cards, right?
There you go.
That's a Christmas event that people can remember that you're doing, and it also can be kind of a stress reliever. So, ship that and then go out and give the cards to someone or any other kind of art project or whatever that you can do.
And Sierra is very artistic, I don't know, years ago, if any of you guys, because I know you've told me you used to follow my blog, and for many years, Sierra took all the photos for my blog, so I have these beautiful photos because of Sierra, because she's been very arts and crafty and
photography, a little moment.
For a while it was photography and always did amazing well. So taking your hobby or the things that you really enjoy doing and spending time doing those things to help reduce stress is also another good one.
Kind of combine it, I don't know, kind of slows the pace down a little bit, or just kind of dials it down.
Exactly.
Pressure.
So those are some of our tips. I was going to say, do I have any other tips to add to that? Things like I like to read.
Yeah.
And so that's a great stress reliever for me in the evenings is just to have a really good book to read. I like to read also the book of Psalms can be very soothing to
Yes.
the soul, or even listening to it on an app
I'll
or
have the
something.
Bible like just play in the background. Usually Proverbs and Psalms. I'll just play in the background.
Yeah.
And just over and over repeat it, and it's just nice because then like you be doing something and your brain's just kind of listening into it and kind of like, I don't know. I think it's just very calming.
It is. That's another good one. Yeah, so, just, and like lighting in your home too,
Yeah.
in the evenings, turn the lightings down, make it more soothing, make it more calming, make it more, comfortable. And like Sierra said, light a candle or put a little music on or something too. But I think, I think those are all great tips.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, and at the end of the day, it's to each individual person and what they're dealing with, and you kind of have to assess your own environment and figure out maybe what's triggering you the most and what's really stressing you. And sometimes it's the things you don't really want to confront too.
Yes, that's true.
That is the thing that you need to kind of hit head on.
Yeah. I have found that a lot in life, it's the phone call you don't want to make, it's the, it is the chore, the household chore you just don't want to do, but yet it just sits on your shoulder nagging you, causing you more stress. And oftentimes if you just, start your day out by dealing with that one, handling it.
Asking yourself, like, okay, if I'm feeling anxious or just overwhelmed, what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
Yes.
And it's like, okay, that's
what you need to work on.
Yeah. Ask yourself that,
Exactly.
almost on the daily, however you can, but.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then you'll feel great. Like, you'll take care of it, and as obnoxious or as annoying or uncomfortable as it may have been, once you're done, it feels good.
It feels very good. Yeah, absolutely. That's right.
Hit it head on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know. This video has probably gotten long enough at this point. I really hope that you guys have enjoyed meeting my daughter and listening to us have our little coffee chat this morning back and forth. And of course, share your stress relief things in the comments.
I'd be curious to see what people will have to say.
Yeah.
Give me some ideas when I go home.
Right. Exactly. So we have another 2-3 days to be able to spend together, and then she's on the plane, and life goes back to normal. So it makes Mama sad, but I am cherishing the time that she's here and the time that we're getting to spend together. Yep. So it's been very nice.
Very, very, very nice.
It has. So
especially decorating a tree. I don't have a tree at home, and I'm not decorating at all for Christmas this year. So it's nice to come here and kind of get that feel.
Yeah, get the old Christmas feels.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
So.
All right, ladies, I'm going to wrap up this video now, and I really appreciate you guys being here. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye-bye.